Bajans Pun De Net, let we talk plain and clear. Y'all ever hear how Barbados set out the blueprint for the horrors of slavery? No? Well, let we call out one of the biggest wrongs in we history, the 1661 Barbados Slave Code. And before I continue, you can hear me talking in a roundabout kind of way, but that's only to placate the powers that be, because I don't want to be off the net. Be only starting digging up we Bajan history. So let we do this. The Barbados Slave Code was the first set of laws designed to control enslaved Africans in a way that was so brutal that other colonies copied it. And guess what? It wasn't just about control. Oh no. It was about power, profit, and punishment. The 3 Ps, shall we say. So Barbados wasn't always a full-blown society. In the early 1600s, the British was experimenting with indentured servitude. Palm-colored Irish Scots and poor English people working to pay off the debts. But when the sugar boom hit in the 1640s, the plantocracy realized something. Africans was the key to the riches. So unlike the indentured servants, enslaved Africans were seen as permanent labor. Permanent labor. I can tell one about that in the next episode next week, Sunday. So hang tight for that. The British start bringing in thousands of Africans, and by 1660, more than half the population was like we. Now, this frightened the whole white ruling class. They see rebellion brewing, and they may want to lose control at all. So they make a set of rules and laws to strip away any human rights from the enslaved, making sure slavery would be the backbone of the economy. The 1661 Barbados Slave Code was officially called An Act for the Better Ordering and Governing of Negroes. Don't let me cut my eye, do. But don't let the fancy words fool you. This was about terror, brutality, and legalizing oppression. Now, the slave code in itself, real difficult to read, but here are some key things that I say. 1, enslaved people was property and not people. Them had no rights, no legal standing, and could be bought, sold, or unalived without consequence. 2, if you run away, torture waiting for you. The first offense, lashes. The second time, even more brutal punishment. And the third time, they cut off your foot or they got unalive you outright. 3, any threat to palm-colored power was punishable by unaliving. If enslaved people gathering in groups, carrying weapons, or even look like they're planning something, unalive you. 4, palm-colored people who unalive an enslaved African could go free. Imagine that. As long as them could say that the unaliving was an accident or necessary, then get off scot-free. 5, no African could testify against a palm-colored person. Even if the palm-colored person commit the unaliving right in front of the crowd, right in front of your face, right by your feet, no enslaved person could stand in court to testify against that. And by the way, they didn't just keep this wickedness to Barbados. The 1661 Barbados Slave Code was so effective at keeping enslaved people powerless that it spread to Jamaica with their slave code in 1664, South Carolina in 1696, and other places across the Caribbean and in North America. By the 1700s, every British colony used some kind of version of the Barbados Slave Code, making it one of the most influential and cruel and terrible and horrible, etc. documents in the history of slavery. But let me make one thing plain and clear, right? Contrary to popular belief, the enslaved Bajans ain't just sit down and take this punishment quietly. Them did resist in all sorts of ways. Some run away to the hills and form maroon communities. Yes, them did form them, not just Jamaica. Some did sabotage the plantations, burn down the crops, wreck the tools, fake sickness. Some planned revolts like the Bajans Rebellion in 1861, showing full well that the spirit of freedom they'd never gone. Bajans Pun De Net. Plenty of Bajans didn't even hear about the 1661 slave code yet. Yes, but let we not fool ourselves. It shaped we history and we world. Everything that we bout right now, sit down and question. The same wealth that built up the plantation owners still benefits families today. And I know one clear, plain and clear, but I gonna bring up them families in a subsequent episode. But yeah, I'm benefiting. Well, the pain and the trauma still living in we DNA, and yes, there's a term for that. I can plant them right here. So when we talk about the reparations, when we challenge the system, and when we demand justice, we need to do it because we know we history. I urge anyone to be curious about your history because some of the things you know in school and otherwise may not be the actual or the whole truth. Barbados was the first in many things, but unfortunately, some of them did dark. But let we not stop calling them out. So, Bajans Pun De Net, what wanna think about the 1661 Slave Code? They wanna learn about this in school? Did your family ever talk about him? Did you ever hear it in the oral stories? And as I say, I gonna mention something about the oral stories and we heritage and thing in the next episode next week. But anyhow, I want you to drop your thoughts in the comments and let me keep this conversation rolling, yeah? And regarding let we call it we Bage story, I can see one in the next episode next Sunday.